Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bathman's Lounge. I'm your host, the incomparable NSS. Cheers. 1983 was a huge year with regards to music for me. I got my very first boombox, and I listened to the radio religiously. I remember taping. The very first song I taped was Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto by Styx. I remember they used to do a double shot of Iron Maiden all the time. A piece of mine had been released, but they would always play Run to the Hills, followed by Flight of Icarus. The Police had released Synchronicity around that time, and that just blew my mind. As I've gotten older, I'm starting to get to be a bigger fan of Ghost in the Machine. But nothing caved my head in more than the album that was released 40 years ago today, August 7th, and that was Black Sabbath's Born Again, or Purple Sabbath, if you will. It's the only album they did with Ian Gillan from Deep Purple, and Jesus, if you will, sang on that album. I remember listening to 97 Rock at the time. They said, we got a new Sabbath album, 97 Rock exclusive. And I think Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne had been released earlier that year. So, Sabbath was coming in, and the track they released was the incredible Disturbing the Priest. And I remember hearing that and just being going like, wow, this is amazing. I never really had a lot of money, or, my parents were tough with money around it, and definitely you weren't going to spend it on any of that heavy metal rubbish. And I scraped together a bunch of pennies to get that cassette tape over at, my mother was going to school at UB because she got in her head that she wanted to get her high school diploma, and wound up going all the way up to almost getting a PhD. And so I spent a lot of time at UB a lot as a kid, and going to the school, and in the record store there, I found the cassette. It was like $7, which was, a veritable fortune for me, but somehow I found the money and bought it. And I remember that album just blowing my mind. And I remember the first time I heard it on cassette, because before I had, only had that cassette that I made from the radio, and you had the DJ talking and all that other stuff. So I didn't know that there was a song called Stonehenge after Thrashed. And all of a sudden it just went into Disturbing the Priest. And I remember just jumping out of my bed and just being like, whoa, this, it scared the shit out of me. And still does. I have to count the kick drum before Disturbing the Priest starts. And then I remember they played Buffalo. I was 13. There's no way in fuck my parents were going to let me go ever anyhow, much less to Black Sabbath, much less with this incredible album cover that I'm just so proudly wearing now. I've got this shirt. I got several shirts. And they played Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, and they used to, on 97 Rock, have a concert playback later in the evening. And I used to sleep with my trusty boombox on and listen on my headphones. And if I didn't fall asleep, I remember I caught, I thought it was a concert playback, but apparently it was a release from Worcester, which I have, Worcester, Massachusetts. And I remember hearing, just wow. Just that album just blew me away, and hearing that live stuff. I have the remaster, the double disc set they released a couple years back. I'm waiting for the remix. It's supposed to be coming out this year. I do think it suffers from its poor production, even though it's dank and evil. I think a good remix, an honest remix, would clean it up greatly. So I am looking forward to that, because I think the sound sounds like rubbish by accident, not by the intention. From what I've read, that there's a better mix. And like, say, the longest time they couldn't find the original mixtapes. They only had the master tapes. That's why they released the remaster. And I just don't think the remaster was able to make it sound any better. It's a stellar album. It's a stellar album, and just a one-shot deal that'll only exist, as a snapshot in time, because shortly thereafter, Gillan went back to Deep Purple, and Sabbath became a Tony Iommi solo album. I felt like I was the only person that ever loved this album. And, years later, thanks to the internet, there's a huge group of people that just swear by this album. Actually, today, there's several pretty young ladies I follow on the internet who have these album collections. And this one young lady out of Germany who can't even be half that album's age. I think she's in her early 20s. I think she read about it. She had a picture posting and how great of an album it is. And I'm like, wow, I saw it live and in person. I remember when it happened. I guess I kind of feel like the people who were at certain concerts when I was younger going, oh man, I wish I saw that tour. I was just too young to go. And I kind of feel, but I was there when that album came out. Like that young lady, she only read about it, so to speak. I lived it. But it's a stellar album, and I can't wait for the remix. And it was funny because it was very maligned, but years later, I think it's outlived the critics. And of course, all the funny stories about this life-size Stonehenge and all the other things about it. I really wish that there was a good bootleg of it. I wish there was a film of the concert, like from Toronto, Maple Leaf Gardens, and when it started out. I would have loved to have seen that, but I'm glad there are people out there that have carried the torch for that album. And to those of you that love it, man, hey, thank you. So, just wanted to pop on, just do a quick little one in honor of the 40th birthday of Black Sabbath's Born Again. The devil and the priest can't exist if one goes away. It's just like the battle of the sun and the moon in night and day. So, you guys have a great time. I'll talk to you soon. And thank you for watching. Please click the links below to subscribe and be part of my channel. I'd love to have you there, and I'll try to keep more steady content as I go on. And of course, I do have coasters, I do have koozies, I do have pint glasses. If you want some, go to the link below and grab yourself some Baphomet's Lounge merch. Outside of that, you guys take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Peace, and go born again. Cheers, everybody.